Welcome back, everyone. And in honor of breaking 1,000 subscribers, today I decided we'd highlight one of the greatest cartoons I've ever watched. Today I'll be explaining exactly why Samurai Jack is the greatest isekai of all time. Now first, we need to explain to those that don't know. Isekai is a subgenre of fantasy in which a character is suddenly transported from their world into a new or unfamiliar one. While nowadays mainly used in Japanese animation, the West is no stranger to isekai. Believe it or not, a lot of classic TV shows and movies like The Wizard of Oz, Digimon, Peter Pan, or even Alice in Wonderland are all isekais. Our noble hero is stranded in a strange land far away where they find themselves struggling to often overcome that world and find a way back home. Samurai Jack is another brainchild from the brilliant mind of Genndy Tartakovsky, creator of shows like Dexter, Primal, and even the rarely talked about but Emmy award-winning Star Wars The Clone Wars animated special. For the rest of this video, however, I'll be explaining why Samurai Jack is the best isekai created. Spoiler alert, because the show's 21 years old and people still haven't finished it. Samurai Jack, first airing on August 10th, 2001, depicts the story of Jack. After being sent into the future by the evil wizard Aku, the young samurai makes a quest to return to the past and undo the destruction caused by the wizard. While the show began with the introduction of Aku and him laying waste to Jack's home as the young Jack flees, the story actually spans back further, back into the life of Jack's father, the Emperor of Japan. Long ago, in a distant corner of the galaxy, a primordial battle was taking place. A black entity hurled through space, pursued by what can only be described as gods. This black mass, being Aku, is cut to pieces by the deities, only to have a fragment of it survive and drift off into space for an unknown amount of time. This piece comes all the way to the Milky Way, then to our own solar system, and then finally impacting on Earth and what looks like causing an extinction event for the dinosaurs. Aku's dormant presence corrupted the land and ruined nature, until eventually the problem came to Jack's father, the Emperor. He personally sought to find the source of this plague and end it. Little to his knowledge, this plague was an ancient evil waiting to awaken. Through no fault in his own valiant ignorance, the Emperor releases Aku and is subdued easily, with the creature leaving him alive and going on to decimate the kingdom. Pausing the story for a second, we get the first big point I like to touch on in this review, and that is that Samurai Jack is an isekai within an isekai. Double isekai. Aku is the original visitor from another world, and as the story goes, cannot be harmed by anything of Jack's planet. Aku is literally living one of the greatest power trip isekais ever. However, that wasn't until the very gods who clapped his cheeks in the beginning arrived and aided the Emperor, forging and bestowing him with godly armor, weaponry capable of killing Aku, and even a flying Nimbus cloud. With this, the Emperor returns and single-handedly battles Aku, beating him in both his various forms and in the form of an entire army of clad Akus. The Emperor vanquishes Aku, supposedly defeating him and turning him back into the massive black spire that he once was. On this day, our fated protagonist, Samurai Jack, was born. With Aku vowing to come back, the Emperor states how they must learn from this and prepare for Aku's return, which they didn't.
Not this time.
Now we move on to the next part of the video, and that is the life of Samurai Jack before he got sent back in time by an evil sorcerer. Wait, would that work as an isekai title? I got sent to the future by a shapeshifting wizard? With Jack's home and peaceful life shattered, he begins the most epic coming-of-age story ever, honestly. Being royalty, I assume the Emperor had connections throughout the world and secured his son's passage and tutelage under the various masters of the world. Jack was trained in staff fighting by Africans, learned wrestling from the Greeks, axe throwing from the Russians, the ways of the Shaolin, archery from Robin Hood, cavalry from the Mongols, and many other fighting styles, and interacting with their cultures, gathering all of this knowledge and experience until his adult years, where he'd be presented with the same sword his father once used to defeat Aku. Now a young man, Jack challenges and soundly defeats Aku. Far easier than his father ever did, honestly, but I guess that's what parents want from their kids, to do better than them. This is when Jack gets isekai. Spanning over the next 5 seasons, the story of Jack depicts a man hell-bent on returning home and restoring his family and honor. Throughout his journey, Jack encounters dozens of strange beings in this foreign yet familiar world ruled by Aku. Jack lives a nomadic lifestyle, constantly wandering the world for rumors, myths, and legends of powerful beings, artifacts, or magic, only so they can get him home. In this, we get to see the true struggle of the man that is Samurai Jack. Jack is often at the wrong place at the right times. He's known throughout the land as a hero and liberator, and with a body count from robots that's probably in the tens of thousands, it's no wonder. The central message I felt of Samurai Jack was the refusal to sacrifice others to accomplish your own goal, selflessness. Over a dozen times, Jack found himself with the ability to go back home to end the evil of Aku. But Jack, to his core, is a noble human being, almost to the point of becoming naive and gullible. He gives up the path home several times for the sake of honor. He's destroyed an evil wishing well that had turned 3 warriors into its eternal guards, allowed civilians to escape rather than risk their lives to accomplish the mission, even having a free shot during a revisit to the Shaolin Temple where Jack simply couldn't leave behind the monks who were fighting to secure his passage. Jack meets other people in groups that still oppose Aku, and we get to meet a large assortment of colorful characters, from shiesty mobsters to brilliant scientists, talking animals, people, sentient robots, and many more. But my favorite's gotta be the Scotsman.
Mr. Pajama wearing, basket face, slipper wielding, Clyde Street buckle, gather up and blade mob, blithering gomeril, Jesse off looking stone.
Saving people, barely having Aku escape battle after battle, giving up a way home for his honor, whether on purpose or Aku's meddling. Over and over, time and time again, Jack repeats this process, almost like he's stuck in a loop of insanity, and eventually, this does wear on Jack's sanity. But for the viewer, you get to see the characters and world develop front and center. It's a vast world, similar yet not the same as the one that Jack knew. Genndy Tartakovsky did not miss in this aspect. Samurai Jack is unique in the fact that it can convey a story with meaning simply through a visual understanding and fine-tuned musical scores. One thing I noticed in Samurai Jack is that nearly every episode had a different soundtrack. The main soundtrack of the show actually being worked on by will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas. The unique settings and backgrounds and the often silent, say less than needed atmosphere of the show gave Samurai Jack a screen presence I haven't seen in many other shows to this day. From the whistling sound effects of battle to the always nigh perfect background music. Samurai Jack was a show I didn't even get to catch all the way through growing up, so going back and rewatching it was beyond refreshing. In the end, note the reason why I regard Samurai Jack as the best isekai. It not only had expansive world building and lore introduced which had actual callbacks and references to later episodes, but the brilliantly orchestrated soundtrack, the clever dialogue, and overlapping messages throughout Jack's journey. This will just be part 1 of this review, as detailing everything I would want would kind of ruin the flow structure of how this video was presented. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to let me know that you want a part 2, or comment below who was your favorite Samurai Jack character. I'm sure we have some similarities. I'm gonna be rolling out a few videos featuring this show for you guys, so thanks as always for liking and subscribing. It's kind of wild we're at 1,000 subscribers now, but without further babbling, peace out guys.